Hey Madhuri, we're live.
Hi, Bhakti. Oh my goodness. Hi.
Hey. So we're trying out some new technical thingaloos. So I'm just gonna check if that's working.
And thank you for bearing with us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
And we're
you.
gonna wait a little bit. Also, make sure some folks come. Uh, so what? We've been cramming films the past few days.
Just forced to watch them all.
Exactly.
The
Uh,
one thing I will say I feel sad about for myself is that I didn't get to experience Sinners on the big screen. I would have loved to have watched it in
mhm.
like a theater, but I missed that opportunity.
Yeah.
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 Did you watch it at home or?
No, I watched it on the big screen, like within very few days of it coming out, and it was
Yeah.
kind of extraordinary, especially the music and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, all right, so I'm gonna wait another minute or two, and then we're gonna because I really have no idea um, how it's going, how it's planning to go to all our various
Channel.
places, yeah, and things like that.
Yeah.
And if you just give me a second, I will find a way.
I trust you, Bhakti.
Thank you.
I
Uh,
completely. Yeah. In the meanwhile, everyone, wherever you are in the world, get a coffee, a nightcap, cup of tea.
popcorn,
Yeah.
popcorn.
Get ready to-
All right. Okay. So the only thing I can't figure out is one of our streams, but other than that, to go. All right. Let's dive in, Madhuri.
Let's
I'm
get
very
going.
excited. Yeah.
Get us
Let's
started.
go. Okay. So why did we say give this crazy title? The movies were too political, and yeah, so we wanted this thing to happen pre-Oscars. I know tomorrow night lots of people will tune in. We won't really tune in, but we will follow who wins, who doesn't. Oscar ceremonies are notoriously long and dull, and you know, let them do their thing. But what's important for us was to kind of analyze a year that's been turbulent. The last few years have in fact been super turbulent, super awful. So much war, so much violence, so much drama around words like Palestine and things like that. So I think when all these scandals began to erupt, like the Berlin Festival, the censorship at the BAFTAs of the word Palestine and things like that, I think we thought it would be interesting to take a look at the landscape and see what's really out there, who's out there, what's going on. And I have been watching the films as they come in, just because I do. I know you have too.
Yeah.
And it would be good for us to first start by talking about this idea. Were they really such political movies? Also, what does it mean for these big mainstream movies to go out into this award sphere, this award season? What does it mean when a film like The Voice of Hind Rajab gets nominated for an Oscar? When a film like Jafar Panahi's It Was Just an Accident from Iran goes into the Oscars at a time when US and Israel are actively pounding Iran. So, there's a lot to talk about. What do
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's two questions here when you ask, when you frame it as, are these films really so political? That's all we hear reviewers say, right? Oh, these films are so political. They're so political. And on the face of it, I think, yes, they are dealing with these themes that we consider to be overtly political. So if you consider some of the biggest blockbuster hits, from Sinner to One Battle After Another to Bugonia, they are all dealing with overt political themes of fascism, environmental depredation, big bad corporations, ICE, detention, Trump. So in that sense, to me, yes, the films are political, and they are also political in a sense that they are reflecting the times that we are in. Like, they are reflecting the preoccupations that we all have, that we see the filmmakers are also sharing. um you know Maternity, paternity, all, so many such themes, right? But for me, the question really is, in these political themes, when films are making or dealing with it, what is the stance that they are ultimately positioning, right? What is the movie trying to say about this moment? It's not enough for them to simply portray it or whatever, have a movie or have a storyline centered around it. What is the film? What stand is the film taking? And it's here that, and we'll get into this, of course, as we progress in our conversation, Bhakti, but it's here that I really differ with reviewers. When they say it's political, I think they mean, check ICE, check Trump. And for me, it's like, well, what are they really saying about ICE? What are they really saying about Trump? What are they really saying about corporations? And, to add to all of this is, of course, the genocide that continues. And then there's the war with Iran that is happening. And then there's, of course, the ICE detentions and the unlawful detention of children and women. And, the Oscars are a place. And I wanted to ask you, before we delve into the films, what you feel these nominations do, because I think some people might feel like, is it frivolous in a sense, or what does it even mean to get a nomination today when you have the industry that has signed on to this boycott, and you have half the industry that hasn't, and you have Hind Rajab at the same time, you have a film like One Battle After Another, both nominated. So what does it mean to be at the Oscars? Bhakti, you're muted.
Sorry, I think that's a really, really important question. And something I struggle with so much, because I'm such a believer of sort of counterculture, small radical spaces, small interventions that have a big voice, things like that. And there is, of course, the part of me that actively attempts to work within that sphere, in every way. Writing, I'm even dabbling in
Absolutely.
film, all those things. But also, at the same time, I just don't think one can ever underestimate the sheer power of this kind of mass A cinema, and
Mm.
B, the wings, the wind beneath their wings, the stuff that takes it out of the gate and makes it become popular and go far and all this kind of stuff. So I think, um I think even more than, say, somebody like writers or scholars who write these statements against Israel, for Gaza and things like that. I think when filmmakers do it, especially mainstream filmmakers like that,
Yeah.
uh, from the belly of the beast, the West, right? I
Totally.
think it has the power to do something that like some of the other interventions don't, and do it quickly. There is a sort of, there are two sides to this thinking. One is like, we can't believe this genocide is happening. We cannot believe the shamelessness with the war in Iran. Yet and we can't believe nothing is being done to stop it. But at the same time, there are people who will say that never before has the cultural terrain shifted so quickly and so fast beneath our feet. So, I sort of, one day I'm this way, it depends on which side of the bed I wake up on, right? But the truth is that the cinema has extraordinary power. And the Oscars, they have asked for years and years, is it relevant? What if we get a better host? What if we get a more a controversial host? What about the Golden Globes? No more Ricky Gervais. Let's try somebody. They try all these things. And for them, the numbers are never going to be what they were a million years ago, which were like 50, 60 million. But they're still at 20 million. I mean, this is crazy. Last year's show was
20
watched
million
by
people are
20.
tuning in to
Yes.
watch the Oscars?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know that. That's a staggering number for sure.
I think that's a huge number. And
Yeah.
I think they may struggle with a previous moment. And of course, at the end of the day, we all struggle with this idea that nobody wants to watch the long version, but then everyone watches the clips. So you do get the news, we do have our little, fragments of news that we get. So the
Absolutely.
influence continues, and the films get distribution, the actors, everything, things happen. So we have to contend with the power of the cinema. And when they're telling me they're so political, I want to be like you and interrogate it for real.
No, I mean, I think like in a previous conversation that we were having some time ago, you mentioned that, at least now with like the nomination of the Voice of Hind Rajab, a word like Palestine is entering the mainstream discourse
Totally.
in whatever way. And perhaps indeed the bar is so low that we should just be happy about this because, there was last year, the winning film was No Man's Land. And it's very hard to categorize it as a Palestinian film, right? For so many reasons. So
Mm,
to finally see this, like a film like The Voice of Hind Rajab, actually enter the mainstream discourse, and also to your earlier point, which I'm poaching, Bhakti, force publications like the New York Times to engage with this film because of the
mm,
backing that it has, Brad Pitt and blah, blah, blah. They're forced to engage with it. Of
yeah.
course, the review was horrific. It was conducted in typical New York Times fashion, passive voice. There was no implication of the state, even though the film does a really good job implicating the state. It's all, the
Yeah.
headline, as one of our editors has pointed out, is help that refuses to come, as if like, where we don't know why this ambulance couldn't get there. The film makes it so explicitly clear. So no matter how political these films are, I feel like the media is working so hard to siphon out all the politics. So I think to your point, I would much rather these films take the mainstream media's place. These clips take the mainstream media's place so that people can actually, arrive at their own conclusions and not have somebody feed into them how to watch the film.
Yeah.
Um, and I think like what I was hearing from people who have, watched in Rajab or in various Western cities is, oh, they just didn't know. They didn't know how bad it was,
What?
Yeah, like I just had no idea. Because also, Bhakti, if you of course have noticed, the pictures of the genocide have vanished from our streams.
Yeah.
So whereas a year ago the genocide was being live streamed. It was a live streamed genocide. We would wake up to these pictures of arms and limbs buried. Nothing, not a peep now. Even
Mhm.
Epstein has vanished,
I-
and we bombed a girls' school in Iran, and there has been like no real discussion about that. So it is, I think, now some other form, cultural artifacts time to come and take the space,
I
you
know.
know, bring those images back, bring it back. And so for this, I think, yes, I am feeling, I am usually the pessimist in the situation, but I am feeling a little bit more
Yeah.
optimistic about these films being so mainstreamed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I want to come back quickly before we proceed to the actual films to analyze the films. You said it's hard to think of No Other Land as a properly Palestinian film. And you know what? I actually tried to watch it several times and somehow I have not managed to watch it. I do know that there was a call to culturally boycott the film, and the film on the first of all was already getting so much hatred, just because of the moment that it was in. But at the same time, there was this extremely what felt like very problematic call to boycott it. And I have spoken actually to some of those organizers from the boycott, divest, sanctions movement, and they said, they haven't taken those kinds of decisions to ask for boycotts of certain films, but they asked for awareness around this particular film because it was made by an Israeli crew, many of them who had Zionist views. And then when it won the Oscars, it became very clear, right? Because it peddled this sort of both sidey
Oh,
narrative,
savior, total savior narrative. The
right?
Israeli in the film is a
The film
savior.
itself, oh my God,
Yes,
okay.
it's a
Yeah.
completely saviorist, flattening, fetishizing narrative that casts the Israelis in this like, oh, not all Israelis light. Both
Mhm.
sides for sure, but not all Israelis. In fact, there are these benevolent savior Israelis who are coming, who are good-hearted, and that was a real problem. And I saw it premiere in New York. I can't remember where I saw it, but the two actors, Basil is the Palestinian actor, and then I think Yuval is the Israeli, were both beamed in for a conversation, and 99%, if not 100% of the questions in the post Q&A were directed towards the Israeli. And, oh, how bad do you feel about this? How bad do you feel about this? And it's like the Palestinian person is right there, you
I
know?
know.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut
Yeah.
you off. It
No,
was
no,
savior.
no, you didn't cut me off at all.
Yeah.
Uh, no, that's so just us having this conversation means that we're in a totally different moment right now,
Sure.
because the Voice of Hind Rajab, so I'm just writing, and I will send it out at some point. I'm writing about the three Palestinian films that have been extraordinary this year, all by women, made by women, and really incredible films, great interventions. And out of that, I would say the Voice of Hind Rajab, all three of them actually, they are undeniable. You cannot watch these films and come away that like Israel is something vague. You know exactly what they're doing, how they're doing it, why they're doing it. They're undeniable. And so it's, of course, it's a huge leap that they have gotten there. And I don't care how many crazy celebrities it took or whatever. I'm just happy they are there. And I would be shocked, of course, if it if they win.
Ah, you
But
don't
I
think
don't
they're
know
going
what
to win?
happens if they win. It'll be really weird. I
You don't.
don't.
Will
Yeah.
they beep out the entire acceptance speech?
They'll bleep the whole thing out. They'll hold her back from coming on stage to get the award. But the other yeah, so I think it says something. I think the other thing is the Iranian film.
Mhm.
Jafar Panahi, giant of cinema, of course, absolute giant of cinema. I'm so happy I got to recently watch the film. He's beloved in France, and so it's
Yeah.
screening in lots of places here. And essentially, I would not say this is like my favorite film of his, because I love the previous ones, Mirror. I love some of the, even the old, even as old as the Mirror, like Offside, which is about a
Yeah.
group of girls who tries to go watch a football game in Tehran, and then the morality police won't let them in, and they disguise as boys. So good. And anyway, so I love his stuff, of course, but it's incredible, and I think it's customary to honor Iranian cinema in the West, to save
Absolutely.
it even. It's customary. So I think when the nomination goes there, nothing was going on, and now it's a full on, absolute crazy divide as the US and Israel crowns them. And, I think the Iranians themselves have to think about what it is they want to say about their country. Panahi has been a critique of the regime. I'm not saying
Sure.
he needs to stop being a critique of the regime, but I think everyone's going to have to model it how they speak now about this, because the excursion, as Trump calls it, is just so grotesque.
Mhm.
But yes, so it's an unusual year. I think it's an unusual year.
No, definitely. And I am seeing this divide too, because I think most people, the speculation on the street seems to be that it is Jafar Panahi's film that's going to win, most likely.
Mm,
Um, and there seems to be, quite a sense of, well, I think I'm interested in this divide because publicly there is no support for this war right now. You know,
mhm.
there is just no support. The American government is scrambling to create some sense of cohesion and support around this war. Um, so it is interesting to me also that it's almost feeling a little bit like like oppression Olympics. It's like who's the oppressed person du jour? Like, is it Palestine? Is it Palestine? No, 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 no. It has to be Iran. We have to say something.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see what happens, especially because of, you're right, the kind of venerated position that Iranian cinema
Yeah.
holds
Mhm.
here in the West as well as in India. Where I'm from.
My money is on the Secret Agent from Brazil.
For
What
foreign
a
film.
film. What a film. Oh my
Oh
God.
my goodness.
Extraordinary. I denied myself the pleasure of watching it in the films, and then I have gone and watched it in as almost like in bits over 3 days on flights and here and there. I mean, just ridiculously bad viewing. And one day I'll sit down and I'll just watch it properly. But that's where my money is on. But let's analyze. So who's actually? It has a lot of nominations, I think, because it has nominations for actor, it has nominations in best feature, best director. This weird jumble that the Oscar creates. Like, are they honoring American films, or
Yeah,
that whenever they feel like, I
yeah.
don't know what they're doing. Sometimes they honor some other films. Like, remember when Parasite won, and it's like, isn't that film Korean? I don't know.
Sure,
Anyway,
but international film nominated in international films as well as Best Picture. So it's gonna get
exactly.
something. Yeah.
Of course, yeah, it'll get something for sure.
Yeah.
So who are the big hitters this year?
The biggest.
We have 8 for Hamnet, adaptation of a novel adaptation of a novel about the wife of William Shakespeare, fictionalized as Agnes. Her original name is Anne Hathaway, I suppose it was rather, and it's a story about this woman and ways in which she cares for her children, and then when one of the kids dies, it turns into the greatest work of art. I believe, though, it's called Hamlet. So anyway, so that's what that is about. Then the next up is 9 nominations for Marty Supreme. Okay,
Yeah.
killed me a little bit.
Yeah, with that movie.
13 for One Battle After Another. Not only did it kill me, it just breaks my heart that this is where we are today, and we'll unpack that. And I know you feel the same. Thank God we feel the same. But then, because it's like I'm in so many weird arguments with people about these things. And then 16, yes, for Sinners.
Yeah.
So good. Ryan Coogler, really, really good. Just such a great, perfect, beautiful, full blockbuster film. Big budget, crazy, ostentatious, amazing, musical. I don't know, everything. Horror,
with the position, pageantry with the position, panache with the position, like costumes with the position, like everything had a point of view, and that's why I liked it. It wasn't like for the sake of it. All so rooted and grounded in this beautiful critique and this position that was large and accommodating of so much solidarity across the board. I really, really enjoyed it. I loved it.
I loved it too. I thought it was a little too much Michael B. Jordan for me, because I've gone from being like his big fan to like getting a little bit tired of his overexposure. But I know Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan come.
Yeah, they're there.
Yeah, they are the twins in Hollywood.
But it felt very, to me, almost nostalgic, because this is Bollywood's favorite thing too, right? The same actor in a double role.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, so for me, it scratched some other itch. I was like, ooh, double.
Yeah. I mean, critics are saying that he played the each twin, Smoke and Stack, differently.
I disagree.
Please.
I disagree. They were one person in the end.
I know. Yeah, I think like this kind of antebellum South, like this lush kind of historical, musical kind of landscape that they created, this kind of layers and layers of this Southern history, this Black South history, slavery. I mean, it was really amazing.
And I think the part that I felt a bit confounded by and I had to read up about and was pleasantly educated by was with the vampire, the main vampire, who I'm forgetting his name, the actor, but he's brilliant and he was on Skins. He is Irish. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand why they had an Irish person, who was there so colonized, so in solidarity with the oppressed. And then, I did read about the symbolism being of the Irish people who came to the US and have occupied these state positions of power and then ended up oppressing American Black people over here. So, they're very famously part of the fire department, the police force, and have become so suctioned into the state apparatus over here that then the oppressed becomes the oppressor. And I found that to be another layer that I found really, really, really interesting, and particularly American, I think, because in no other place could I possibly imagine an Irish person as an oppressor, such a proud group in solidarity with the oppressed. So I thought that was really interesting. And I found the analogy of, vampiric extraction so powerful. I think it implicates everyone. It implicates, including this concept of like Black excellence, right? You have your own people who are willing to feed off you to profit. And what is the end of it? It's a complete disconnection from your community, a disconnection from, your soul, your ancestry. And I really loved that kind of very open interpretation. And I thought Ryan Coogler did an absolutely fantastic job of executing it. And to use music, this thing that truly transcends language in the end, it transcends language. it is the thing that binds us to who we are and where we come from, like smell or something. It was just really so brilliantly rendered, and I am really upset at the snub it received at the Golden Globes and at the SAG or whatever. One or two awards here, but no wins.
Right. I see. So it's, yeah. So then let's see if the Oscars will correct that in some way, right? Because it's been on this kind of snub journey or whatever. It's getting 1-2, 1-2, but it has 16 nominations. But traditionally, sometimes it feels like when you have so much, it doesn't get as many or something.
Yeah, and I just think that one battle is easier. So again, like this is where I want to really think about when we say that films are political, what is the position they're taking? So Sinner's position, extremely clear, right? As we discussed.
Mm-hmm.
I think it will be one battle after another because it takes this incredibly centrist position, and I'll explain. So it's about this Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm sorry, there'll be some spoilers. Who is a failed revolutionary. He's a part of this revolutionary group called French 75, which I don't know what their mission is, but they, are liberating people from detention camps. And there's some speak about abortion. I don't know. And his partner is Tiana Taylor's character, who's a female Black revolutionary. She gets pregnant. Eventually, she dies, or whatever. She's outed as a rat, and it's about the relationship between this washed-up revolutionary, Leo stoner, completely separated from his comrades, who's raising his daughter somewhere, and he gets basically hunted by Sean Penn's character, who is also kind of a caricaturized right-wing villain, who turns out is the actual father of this child. And to me, this was so problematic because there are all the buzzwords, I call it buzzword boggle. It's like you shake a boggle box and you're like, here, I hear the all there. But the caricaturization of the revolutionaries, making fun of the fact that they're whatever focused on pronouns, making total fun of the fact that they're ultimately what it's saying is your politics don't really hold up in the real world. Like on the Reformation Road, your politics fail completely.
You're soft. You're soft.
You're a joke. You're talking about like which
texts are important for revolution.
Exactly. And what is the original name of this land? Like that's your little snowflake battle when, you have other things to talk about. So extremely caricaturized, extremely sexualized female Black revolutionary, which I want to talk to you about, Bhakti, because it was so offensive.
I know.
And in the end, this love child, there's also this preoccupation we're seeing with the future generation. And this love child is not the love child of Leo the revolutionary and Tiana the revolutionary, Perfidia. It's the love child with this crazy, KKK Nazi guy, Sean Penn, in the end. So what it's really saying is like, it creates this false equivalence. Both sides are bad. This side is very violent. This side is also very violent, but there could really be something there. And maybe the future is a middle road. So it is saying all the things that make, liberals and the woke left, as they like to call them, make their ears kind of perk up a little bit, but it never addresses the systems. What are these revolutionaries fighting against? Why are they so caricaturized?
Yeah, exactly.
Why are they so sexualized? What about this KKK guy? Like, what is the sexual relationship between the two of them? And what is the meaning of the fact that the love child is actually born of the far right and the far left? So it is taking this it is positioning liberalism as the answer. And that's why I think, and Sinners is not doing that, and Secret Agent is certainly not doing that. And that's why I think, because it is so palatable, it allows liberals to kind of pat themselves on the back and feel like they're taking the high road. That will make this film win. What do you feel?
No, I think you've nailed it. The only thing I'll add is like the thing that kills me about white liberals: interracial children are the solution. Interracial children are the answer to end all problems. It's like just sleep with people of color, have some children, and then those kids, it's all gonna be okay. I mean, I just hate this stuff with a vengeance. And I've been told that the film is so explicitly anti-ICE because it poaches off all these images, right, of the ICE detention centers, of the children in cages type of stuff. And when I started to watch it, I was very shocked because it's the first few things, and the caricatures came fast and loose. and then actually even the reviews will talk about it, but they have to in the end acknowledge it as a comedy as well, which I found to be a very bizarre, strange thing, because nothing's funny, right? At the end of the day, the other person I love in this film, and it's been hyped like crazy, and he has a nomination, is Benicio del Toro.
Everyone loves
And
him.
yeah, he's awesome, and he's in it, and he's great. But there's all this kind of hype around his performance, and then there's of course the hype around Leonardo DiCaprio's performance, and I feel nothing. I mean, I think Benicio del Toro and Leonardo are extraordinary performers. Not
Agree.
here. It's a one expression, one
Hmm.
note performance for the whole journey. I'm sorry. Okay,
Yeah,
this is, I just don't understand. Everybody is one note. Sean Penn is one note, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
is
yeah,
one note. And that poor interracial child is maybe not as explicitly sexualized as Perfidia, but she is also aestheticized for a particular purpose.
right.
And yeah, it's a caricature. You know, they play a clip from Battle of Algiers at some point, and I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
oh, what is going on? All this intertextuality and all these references,
Yeah.
but it
Just
is
not
all
to yes.
in the service of something.
100% in the service of liberalism, and all the politics is kind of ambient, it's just there. there's
Yeah,
no there's no real interaction with the politics. There's no interaction. It's just there. It's there. It's like ambient. It's exactly when you talked about the Battle of Algiers just being running in the background. That's the politics of the film. It just hums along in the background, and it allows these caricatures to look even more
yeah,
ridiculous. It allows, I have to say something which I think will blow your mind. It turns out that an inspiration for Perfidia's character was Asata Shakur.
what? Where did you read this?
I
She
read
said
it. She did, yeah. She said it was and of course PTA also apparently he had a copy of her of her autobiography on his desk, and she was an inspiration. And listen, I'm not looking for the perfect black woman revolutionary, but I'm certainly was really
this.
put off by the sexualization.
Yeah,
Extreme.
we're getting comments from Austin Yoshino, who says 100% the film was intended to be counter-revolutionary. There's also a colorist element with the daughter. Yeah.
Completely.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, okay, the Asata Shakur thing is just painful, because and you know the extent to which this film, Paul Thomas Anderson wants to generate this kind of aesthetics of radical things, of revolution, and now it's clear. And you know what, the only thing I can say, I'll be generous enough to say that Tiana Taylor, who played Perfidia, you know, she's nominated, she deserves all her wins, and she played the character that I suppose was intended for her. I didn't agree, but you know, good for her. Read the book, enjoy, you know, move on. She's from Harlem or whatever. It's awesome, you know. So,
That's all great.
yeah,
I mean,
so if it's doing some side education for those who act in it, good, because as far as I know, Paul Thomas Anderson and Leonardo DiCaprio are pretty Zionist. So I know that it's not, it's probably did not shape them, you know.
it didn't.
Um, let's talk about the film that's actually about revolution, which is Secret Agent. So
Loved it.
good. I feel
So
so
good.
bad that I haven't seen it on the big screen. Maybe it'll come back. But actually about a dictatorship, actually
Yeah.
about a safe house and dissidents who band together to help out the utterly gorgeous Wagner Moura, played in many names and as his own son, I guess. And you know, the poor man's Che, except Che was for the poor. But anyway, these are just, I'm just getting tangled up in my own jokes. But
Yeah. Wonderland.
um, you know, actually thinking about, you know, aesthetic metaphors, aesthetics and metaphors that are actually original. Like
Yeah.
there's the thing about the shark, the non-human elements, you know, the nightmares, the surrealist kind of touch,
Loved it.
and of course the glory just of the mise en scène, you know, the posters, the TV, the everything, you know,
Loved it.
so beautifully done, and it's actually about a brutal Brazilian dictatorship by a filmmaker who has actively engaged in protest, not only against Bolsonaro, has also signed on to the pro-Palestine letter. I mean, outstanding, all in all, way to go, you know.
You think about the depiction of the revolution and the handling of these themes of fascism in The Secret Agent versus One Battle After Another?
Oh yeah, that's true, because they both have a lot of sex, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it just, I don't know, like, I realized that they're both doing that, but it was so different. Like, one was so much in service of, at some level, showing the ways in which people lead sexual lives under a dictatorship, in the dark of the night, the gay guys
yeah,
cruising in the park, and this leg, and this leg bitten by a shark, that's meant to, I suppose, symbolize the dictatorship or the powers that be, uh,
yeah,
out there, surveilling them and stuff like that. So it functioned so differently, whereas it was just, sex was for sex in Battle for Another. It was meant to titillate, it was meant to kind of, really also make us question women, in like, why is she attracted to both these guys,
mm,
why does she want these two guys, what does it mean for her to engage with her hypersexuality as a revolutionary tool?
yeah.
Is sexuality, is projection of sexuality, erotica, is that integral to certain, to revolutionary movements? Absolutely. There is a reason I bring up even someone like Che, or people like Thomas Sankara, who are like, gorgeous, and you lionize them, and tweet out their pictures, whatever. you know Revolutions have to have sex appeal. I get it.
Well, and, it's a symbol of hope, right? Like if you are having sex with someone to have a child, like you believe somewhere that your revolution will succeed.
Yeah,
Otherwise, why else?
totally,
Uh,
totally. But they were used very, very, they were
yeah,
very different. One was vulgar and fake, and it was meant to really confuse us, and to get us to the both sides, theater of the both sides.
yeah.
It's like,
What's really interesting for Secret Agent is that it has a much bleaker sort of end. So again,
yeah.
I'm sorry to spoil, but it turns out that for Wagner Moura, who's being hunted by this fascist Brazilian state, of which there is actually very little record, right? So it is kind of a counter narrative to establish a record. The film really depicts how it goes after this poor scientist who starts to have to live the life of a secret agent when he is in fact just a scientist, who brilliant, stood up for himself, whatever. But he's pushed into this like life that because of this and the mundaneness of the fascism, the everyday, like waiting in line, like no record of his mother, like all this stuff, he's a child without a mother. Again, another
Oh, good.
huge theme. He's a
Yeah,
child
yeah,
without a mother. Marty Supreme has this theme. Bugonia has this theme. It's like a man in the world navigating his position, politics,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
He has a child. The mother of his child dies. He wants to just get his child and escape, and he's being promised all that stuff. It was a bit confusing as to why he was the people were taking so much interest in him, in Wagner Moura's character. Anyway, he was supposed to be, rescued from the
He's
country.
gorgeous, Madhuri.
I
What?
know, I know. Fine, fair. I would be too. Very invested.
No, I'm kidding, but you're right. You're right. I guess because it was his story, it was meant to be his
Yeah,
story, and then you learn that the archivist is actually documenting it. So he's the center. There's a framing within a framing, and all this kind of stuff. But
yeah.
but
But in
let's,
the end,
yeah, go on. Finish your thought.
sorry, in the end, I wanted to say that the bleakness is Wagner Moura's son. Wagner Moura dies. His son is there,
Mhm.
and he's just living the most ordinary life, but he's not really concerned about any of these revolutionary things that occurred in the past or his father's connection to them in any way. And it's just like, like it happened. We've papered over it completely, and how they paper over the horrible time in Brazil's history is demonstrated by how the theater, which was integral to this revolutionary, whatever the scene,
Mhm.
is basically destroyed and turned into a blood donation center or something. So it's like, no, life has gone on. We've just moved past it. Whereas none of that, like that felt so real to me, like a real engagement with how and why cycles of fascism and tyranny can repeat. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
one battle after another has none of that. It has
Totally, totally.
the
And when you
moment.
think about Jafar Panahi talking about a horrible tyrannical regime in Iran, when you think about the Brazilian dictatorship, the history of the Brazilian dictatorship, which had revived in some way with Bolsonaro, so recently, and when you think about something like Voice of Hind Rajab, which is also engaging with the tyranny and the regime and the brutality of the Israelis, it really is shade for one battle after the another, which is only faking
Yeah,
revolution, interest in revolution. And
yeah.
it's like faking, even kind of everybody is a ham, right? The fascists are hammy, the revolutionaries are hammy. It's just, it's painful, actually. Do you want to talk about Marty Supreme?
But we have to. But
I forced you to watch.
can you please get us
I,
started?
I want to start. I want to start by saying that I watched it in the movie theater, and because it's set in 1952, 53, but the music is from the 80s, and I guess people my age went to watch it, or like music from the 80s is still cool. People were singing along at some of the songs.
Oh
Okay,
my God.
so already we we have some kind of a phenomena that that I don't have words for. But I mean, I cannot, I could not, for the same reasons that I had a problem. The hypocrisy, which is a huge reason to dislike one battle after another. The not no actual authentic political engagement. Marty Supreme does the same for me. Okay, Marty Supreme is a story of a young ambitious Jewish boy, and it's set right after the Holocaust has happened, and he is poor. He lives in a kind of a tenant sort of place in New York City, and all those kind of historical touches were very cool, of course. And then is a genius. He's a brilliant ping pong player, and he needs to go and be part of these ping pong tournaments worldwide, and so he's hustling to get there, and along the way he will step over anything, he will exploit anyone, he will sleep with anyone, whatever, right? He will do anything to do it. And what you're supposed to get out of it is that uh, here is here is a world filled with a kind of wasp white supremacy and anti-Semitism, and through that we have to push for this sort of small counter hero or something, anti-hero or something like that, because he's not likable you know
He's, yeah, I hated him. But I could not even bring myself to root for him. Like I was just like, I don't know. I don't actually care what happens to you. In the end, you are a horrible person.
Yeah,
And why am I so invested in your narcissism? Like there was nothing.
because he's Jewish.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very much a kind of a Hollywood. What does Hollywood celebrate? Right, it celebrates World War II films, and it
Right.
celebrates films about the Holocaust. Year after year after year after year, we get them. And now, when Jewish supremacy is in front of everyone, in front of all our eyes, we can all see its power.
Yeah.
Okay, whether it's Epstein, whether it's Israel. I mean, how much more are we going to peddle this victim narrative? How much longer are they going to peddle the narrative of this victim, unlikable anti-hero? No matter what, we want him to get to Japan, to his tournament. No matter what, we want him to win this final game, and all this stuff. And the extravagance, the amount of money they've put into this film,
Mm. Mm.
I mean, it's not as extravagant as Sinners, probably, but you can see that it's like a high budget film, lots of hijinks, scenes of fire and violence and attacks and music and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, I was just upset. I was able to sit through the film. It was fine, whatever. I thought Gwyneth Paltrow is very good when she ends in a comedy space. Actually, I
Oh,
like when she does that.
okay.
When she's when she's just weird and odd, when she's not serious. I think she has
Yeah.
good comedy chops, actually.
Okay.
But those are the things I didn't mind watching it. But as a phenomena, as we exist, relentless ongoing violence in Palestine and Muslims everywhere, I really cannot engage anymore with the concept of with the trope of a Jewish victim. It's just not cool. We don't
Do
need
you think
it anymore.
that there was some subtle victim but oppressor built in, like duality? Because
Who was he oppressing?
he was
Just the
oppressing
girls.
everyone. The girls, yeah. I mean, he refuses until the okay. Just there's two thoughts here. One, to your point about rooting for him and him being an anti-hero. Yes, you all want him to win. You also want him to acknowledge the paternity of his child. Again, another theme, right? Which he's just not doing. Throughout the movie, he's like, this is not my child, not my child, not my child, not my child. And at the very end, it ends, right, with him like, yeah, running in to acknowledge that this is my kid.
But she's manipulative too. Is it really his child?
I mean, that's a good point. Well, maybe
I mean, I don't know.
maybe
The
that's
women are manipulative
the
too.
agency.
They're
Sorry.
not the women are not easy to manipulate, is what the women are manipulative, and they are not easy victims.
So,
You want Gwyneth Paltrow to give him this money, and
yeah,
then it unfolds in the way it does.
of
You
course.
want this girl to actually have, she goes all these lengths to be with him, and all that's fine, but she's kind of crazy too.
Yes, I do feel it was his kid because the opening sequence or the titles,
I know
um, yeah,
the semen that they were showing.
the spermatozoa. Yeah, yeah. So I felt like, okay, maybe this is, and then maybe there was this. It ended with like, oh, this like horrific person is going to pass on some horrific traits to his child, and then whatever, try to make him or her be the next best thing, and this idea to me, it was also, there was some kind of assimilation narrative that was there, right? Like this idea of like how hard Jewish people after the Holocaust had to work to assimilate into American society, like
And it
so.
was hard, of
Yes,
course.
of course,
Yeah.
but ultimately it's an assimilation. There's no like critique of why did they have to work so hard to assimilate, you
Right.
know, like so I'm wondering if you thought though in his like oppression, in his shittiness or whatever, was that sort of like a victim can be an oppressor too? Maybe it was that.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. No. I mean, I think those themes are there, but I think we
We're
seek them.
hoping.
He's certainly oppressive, but he's oppressive in the theme that we now keep coming back to of this year, which is masculinity, toxic masculinity, paternity. We have a year of cinema that is so heteronormative. There is
Yeah,
hardly any mainstream queer films or characters, nothing to grab onto at all. It's a straight up year of straights, and masculinity is a huge theme. Of course, let's unpack the masculinity and the paternity thing, but of course it's also a year of some movies that have been female centric. But yeah, I think Marty Supreme is giving us um, this kind of muscularity, Jewish muscularity, which was a very important kind of component with the formation of Israel, in the 40s and 50s and things like that, to move the idea of the prototype of the stereotypical anti-Semitic notion that Jewish men are bookish and so on and so forth, and to create
feminized. Yeah.
them become muscular heroes. So some of it was that project as well.
Yes, absolutely. That is interesting. And I'm glad that you brought that up because I hadn't viewed it. I just was like, this is just such a vanity project for Timothy Chalamet. It's like him. It's just him. It's just him. I mean, there is not a single scene in the film in which he is not there.
I know.
I cannot
Like,
tolerate films like that.
yeah. But do
Yeah,
you think he'll win Best Actor?
yeah. I'm sorry.
No. Wagner Moore has been winning it.
It will be Chalamet. At the end
Really?
of the day, yes, because I think they must reinforce this narrative of, Timothy, whatever. I learned to play ping pong for a whole year. And, when I was Bob Dylan, I learned how to sing. And then, like, it's a movie about, like you said, like reasserting Jewish identity within the American fabric. Of course, he will win for this. I don't think Wagner Moura will win, not the Oscars.
Okay.
Michael B. Jordan, I think we have such a problem with race that even a double Michael B. Jordan would not win him an Oscar.
Okay, let's hope you're wrong. Let's hope you're wrong. But I think you're going to be right.
Yeah.
There's also the great Leonardo,
I forgot about him. No, I don't think he will win. I think one battle will win everything else. Like, Tiana Taylor might win. It will win for film. It will win for sort of all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's a sweep. But it will not win these two key things. Sinner, Best International Film, like you suggested, I think will go to Sinners.
Yeah.
Secret Agent. Will go to Secret Agent. Like ensemble cast or something will go to Sinners. Music, But actor is probably Chalamet.
The ones will go, you're saying, we'll go to one battle.
Actor is Jesse Buckley.
So we'll celebrate toxic masculinity, as many of the films are doing. Within that, you're right, there has been a theme of paternity, which is a more tender theme, of course. And the one, paternity, of course, as horribly effed up, was of course in One Battle After Another, with the Sean Penn character and the battle with Leonardo and paternity and all this kind of gross stuff. But then in Secret Agent, he's a sweet father, and it's not highly developed, but it's there. But the film, of course, that did it really well was Sentimental Value, which is coming from Norway, but it has some of the people we know in Hollywood, like Stellan Skarsgård, and Elle Fanning is in there. Really kind of enjoyed this sweet film. It's really about women, but then it's also about the father and his relationship to his daughters. So I think that's the paternity one. But it's also about masculinity at some level. And then Hamnet is about the death of a child and mothers, but it's the father that generates the masterpiece, I guess.
Absolutely, that processes the death and generates the masterpiece and leaves the family to go and do it. And I think,
where are the moms in all this? What's happening? Well, in Hamlet, she's around.
The rest of them are just killed to advance the narrative. There's no perfidia. Even Bugonia is about Jesse Plemons' character who abducts Emma Stone's character. We can talk about that. But, even he grows up without a father. And then his mother is like, completely like the company that Emma Stone is the CEO of is conducting these medical experiments on the mother and, ends up killing the mother. And so he's, this Jesse Plemons' character is like presented as this like left-wing conspiracy theorist man who's lost his way. He's just lost his way. And he thinks Emma Stone's character is an alien.
Yeah.
And he's just pushed into this psychosis, various forms of abuse. The mother is killed. She actually makes him kill his mother. And, she's conducted all these experiments on him, whatever. He's convinced she's an alien. He then abducts her and conducts all unleashes all kinds of violence on her, including like shock therapy, blah, 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 And he's just presented as this completely cuckoo, motherless, parentless child who is a crazy conspiracy theorist. He's vindicated because it turns out that Emma Stone is actually an alien. Yeah. So one would think it's some kind of vindication of a big bad corporation, but no. In the end, Emma Stone kills this Jesse Plemons' character, and she goes into a spaceship with her other aliens.
Oh, I didn't get to the end. I only watched half. I really didn't like it.
It's really not good. And then they decide that, the human race is so messed up. It's completely screwed. There's no hope for us. And so, with the push of a button, they like annihilate the entire human race. Okay.
Amazing.
So
awesome.
The big problem with this is like, there are societal ills here that the film does not bother to critique, like children growing up without parents, like crazy environmental depredation and, experiments conducted by these corporations. But it radicalizes the left, It puts again creates this false sense of equivalence by making the left become extremely violent with this crazy CEO woman. Even though he's right, it's like, well, your assessment of the problem is right, but you don't really know how to go about effecting change. You're just like unleashing violence, and like you come off as a crazy conspiracy theorist, and then like even your right assessments don't land. So once again, it's like leftist politics doesn't really, it's not real. It doesn't work in the real world, so it presents that both sides are equal perspective. Every single film has wielded masculinity, paternity, to reinforce these positions of liberalism, of male supremacy, of whatever, men creating seminal works from the death of their child. Like, everything is like that. I think
Yeah,
a Secret Agent is a good counterexample because this father loves his child, but he's really absent. And in
yeah.
the end, when the father dies, the child grows up, the child is uninterested in the father. The
Yeah,
archivist goes to the child and says, here's all the archival material I've collected about your father. And the son says, it seems like you're really more into him than I am.
yeah,
Like, so everywhere, this idea of like a muscular state and an absentee father and a murdered mother and a present but stoned father. All those fathers are absentee, by the way. Leonardo is completely absent. He loves his daughter, but he's just stoned all the time. And,
mhm.
she's the one looking after him when he comes home drunk and, whatever, I can't remember all this stuff.
Yeah,
So I think but it's never critiquing these things.
I
It just
know.
keeps on reaffirming it. And that
Yeah.
is my big problem with
Will
every.
Shakespeare is also out of the house in Hamnet.
He's
Yeah, he's
out.
in London making plays. You know,
Yeah.
he feels, but from afar. You
Yeah.
know.
And it's like it's so annoying. It's like, yes, the mother, she's like tending to him, she's making these potions, she's making this, she's there with him every, step of the way with her child, the bubonic plague and rescuing one child, blah, blah, blah. And he's just off there writing Hamlet. Even
Would you
the
say it's a
seminal.
bad year for women?
Sorry.
Is it a bad year for women?
Yeah, it's a bad year for women. Although I think Jessie Buckley was very tender in her rendition
Sure.
of
Agnes
Agnes.
Hathaway. Yeah.
She was extremely convincing and wonderful, and her politics are great. And
Yeah.
I'm rooting for her. I still think that it
Yeah.
didn't really do
Yeah.
much for me.
Totally, totally.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing about the women thing is that there is a general veneer that there are some films that are woman centric. Sentimental Value is one, assertive, strong, powerful, interesting woman. And then Emma Thompson, of course, in a kind of a dominant big role, and then, of course, Jessie Buckley in Hamnet, just absolutely fabulous. But it's not enough because also at the end of the day, one has to see the material issues, right? Chloe Zhao is the only woman director
Ah,
nominated this year, and for Hamnet. And in general, it's been a bit of a, I think it's been a bit of a short shrift. I think even you can say Voice of Hind Rajab, Jafar Panahi, they're all doing the work of presenting women's stories, girls' stories, and things like that. But the films that have become popular, that are telling these epic stories, even Secret Agent, are very masculine, very male centric.
definitely, definitely.
I think the other theme that I find has happened for me, or maybe it's just like my emotional state, but I think mourning has been a sort of
Mm,
theme in a lot of the stuff. I mean, when I watched Hamnet, sorry, I thoroughly absorbed it, right? I thoroughly absorbed it. I was really up, I wept for her loss, and the same, of course, with Hind Rajab. All you can do is weep. All three Palestine films this year, they're just for tears, right? So the theme of mourning, of course, in Hamnet, the theme of mourning and sentimental value, and then there is something like that I feel in one battle after another, and I think there is something like that in Marty, but it's not developed, this idea of this phantom pain of a kin, that you're not able to quite that they're not fully grabbing onto, but
yeah,
they have these missing elements in their lives. These people are not whole,
yeah.
for whatever reason. But yeah, I think in general, I felt that a lot of the films explicitly were about mourning, and they managed to make us cry. You know.
Did you feel like a sense of catharsis from, or some sense of release?
Yeah,
What?
I think with the world in such a terrible place, at some level, I felt when I was in those moments, in those films, it did offer uh, some release. Yeah, catharsis now is a bigger word, I
Sure.
guess, right? But
Yeah.
it offered some release. It allowed some letting go of emotions, and I think Hamnet and Sentimental Value did that for me at some level. But I
Yeah.
think they also did some other thing. I think like it's a very diverse year of cinema. I think there's
Yeah.
a lot of diversity of topics and nations, and there is a lot of like emergent themes of progressiveness, radicalism, all those kinds of things. However badly many of the mainstream stuff are doing it, they are implanting something, and some ideas or some places, or they're doing some work of education, and I'll take it. But I do think at the end of the day, Hollywood does what Hollywood does, is that among all these films, all this amazing stuff, but it continues to reset kind of whiteness and Jewishness, no matter
100%.
what. I love Hamnet, and I'm as colonized as every other Indian person growing up in my time, and I know all my Shakespeare's and all this kind of stuff, and I understood it intimately. This is ridiculous. I mean, why are we making this film? Why are we making Marty Supreme? Why are we making this Paul Thomas Anderson stuff? Like, why are these films again and again? This is the world we just have to endure, you know?
Yeah. And what about Frankenstein? Sorry, like I know we've like barely mentioned it. It's got some nominations, I think, but just this lack of like creativity and bringing us back to this, adaptations, Shakespeare,
Classics.
classic adaptation, Wuthering Heights. Like, not that it's an Oscar nom, but it's just, to me, it's like you're right. Like, uh, maybe the current white liberal world is not selling, so they're trying to bring back the golden era.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember Wuthering Heights? It just feels so like uh like it's all in service of this project that you were saying, like definitely this is the world we're going to endure. This is the right thing. This is correct. This is supreme. This is storytelling. This is,
Mhm.
like whatever. So I do agree with you that there are many other films that really fit this thesis that you were talking about that aren't necessarily Oscar nominated films.
And will the Oscars, are the Oscars not so white this year? The hashtag Oscars so white that was trending in the last few years. I think they're not as white as Barbie and Oppenheimer time. And I think that's like, Ryan Coogler can like just pat himself on the back for bringing all the diversity
Right.
possible. I'm not going to give it to Tiana Taylor for this, because she acted in the whitest film ever at the end
I
of the day.
know.
But no, it's not going to look white, if folks from Voice of Hind Rajab are there. Talking of which, by the way, the actor from Voice of Hind Rajab can't even go because he's forbidden as a Palestinian to enter the set foot in the United States. How gross is this? um,
Disgusting.
so I think, with the Brazilians, with the cast of Sinners, it's not going to look white, but ideologically, the themes of the films and this kind of um white Jewish kind of emphasis, it feels like it's all the same at the end of the day. It's like every other year they have the opportunity. They have 24 hours to change that.
But
They have 24 hours to prove me wrong.
so can we just? I want to know your predictions.
Predictions.
Best
I think
picture.
one battle after another.
Four.
We get a lot of things.
Okay.
There is a, I believe, international film will be Secret Agent, even
Yes.
though I want it to be Hind Rajab, just because it deserves all that. I just think, unfortunately, Secret Agent is a bigger film. It's more popular. It's also doing a lot of work, and yeah. So I think it's going to win. I think. What about actresses? Who's nominated?
Jessie Buckley,
We'll get
winner. But there's also Emma Stone for Bugonia. She can't get it. It was not even a good. She didn't do a great job, so I don't think she deserves it. And
well.
she
She
was
did do the
very
full head shave, poor thing. I
well.
don't know if it was real.
She looked good in the end.
Yeah, she
Well,
looked
is
fine.
Jennifer Lawrence nominated for something? And Rose Byrne for "If I Had Legs, I Could Kick You."
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still think it's gonna.
Underdogs. Those are underdogs. You
Yeah,
know, it's very rare for Oscars to reward underdogs. So I think it's going to be Jessie Buckley. I think about
it's
best
ranked choice.
actor. I'm not sure, huh?
It's a ranked choice voting, right? Isn't that how? That's how the voting goes. I heard
It goes to like the Academy, and then yeah.
the ranked. Yeah, yeah.
So that's why the discourse outside of the film, that's around the film, also matters. So one of the things is that Marty, dear Marty, Timothée Chalamet or whatever, has been become very unpopular these days on social media because he's like, I deserve it. He's playing out the Marty character now. He's airing it out on like shows and stuff, and people are like, why is he so arrogant? And he dissed opera and he dissed ballet. He's dating a Kardashian. I don't know.
But
Things,
that's
huh?
forever. That's been happening forever. But that's like
I know, but it's like,
he's he's inhabiting his character in this like intense way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What are your predictions?
As I said, I think best film will be One Battle after another.
Mhm.
Ensemble cast or something will be Sinners. International film Secret Agent. I don't know about. It was just an accident. I feel like that's a strong contender, but I will go with your prediction of Secret Agent.
Yeah.
Actor Timothy Chalamet.
You're saying Timothy Chalamet?
Yeah, you're saying who?
I think not him. Who else
Who?
is there? Paul Mescal doesn't have anything just for also looking good.
Well,
Didn't
Michael B.
deserve it.
Jordan, there was just no chemistry between the two of them. I just couldn't buy it. I'm so sorry.
I know.
Michael B. Jordan is
Well, it was a
nominated.
long distance relationship. It's hard. But in Hamnet. But
Sure.
who else is nominated in actor? I guess Michael B. Jordan or no?
Michael B. Jordan, Timothy Chalamet, um, Leo DiCaprio, Wagner Moura, and yes, I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's Leo.
No.
I
We can
think
count
so.
on Leo not winning.
We can count on Leo not winning? Is that what you're saying?
Nominated for a film called Blue Moon.
Who?
Ethan Hawke.
Oh, actually, I watched it. It was not great.
Yeah.
I didn't. I couldn't even incorporate it into our conversation.
I
But
know. Are you
okay.
saying Leo over Michael B. Jordan?
Not personally. I think that's
No.
who will get picked.
I know you, yeah, but of who will win?
I think Leonardo.
Okay. I say
He's
Timothy.
taken so many risks, like ponytail, dad bod.
I
Yeah,
think it's
but I
Timothy.
think hopefully you're right. I think better Timothy than him. Actually,
I
I
want
can't
to
choose.
see Michael B. Jordan or Wagner Moura. I want to be like, if either of them won, I would be very happy. But I don't
Yeah,
think it will, unfortunately. And female actor, we're saying Jessie Buckley.
hands down.
Okay.
I'm totally open for surprises. The Oscars have 24 hours to change their mind, listen to our conversation, and get their shit together and reward all the good stuff, and just do their best
Yes.
to reward like actually political films. If the hype has been that the films are too political this year, then let's put the money where it's at.
Do you think Benicio will win or Elle Fanning will win for Sentimental Value for supporting actor and actress?
Neither stood out for me, but yeah, I'm always happy for Benicio to win something, huh?
Sean Penn?
No way.
I
He's
think
very
Sean
unpopular in Hollywood.
Skarsgård.
Huh?
Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah,
Skarsgård.
he's all right. He's that one note guy. He's always that guy in everything.
Same role.
I want the woman, I do not remember her name, Wunmi. I think she has like a West African name, to win supporting actress from Sinners. I thought she was just fantastic.
Yeah.
is not a prediction now. These are just desires that I'm throwing out
She
into the
has not
world.
even been nominated, though.
She's not nominated at the Oscars?
No. It's Elle Fanning, Sentimental Value, Inga Leah, Sentimental Value, Amy Madigan, Weapons. Oh, she is. Wunmi Musaku.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, so my money is on her for my prediction is it's her.
Okay. I
I
think
think.
it's Anna Taylor for one battle. Yeah,
Oh, right. I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's the main contender. Ah,
okay.
that's fine.
It's
All
fine.
good.
What about the best directing? Ryan Coogler, Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value,
Paul
Paul Thomas
Thomas Anderson.
Anderson, Josh Safdie, and Chloe Zhao. No, Chloe Zhao won't get it. Okay. Yeah, I
You
think
don't think so? What do you think? You think they'll give it to the woman in this gang of dudes?
no. I don't even think they'll give it to Ryan Coogler. I think they will give it to Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, it's okay, like to now think in an almost semi gatekeepy way. Like Paul Thomas Anderson makes this very cohesive cinema again and again and again.
Yeah.
I can't say the same for Chloe Zhao because one day she's making a Marvel movie, another day she's making a movie, uh, you know, Nomadland. Another day she's making something else. Like it's like, what do you care about? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like the themes of Paul Thomas Anderson, except I like No Country for Old Men. That was fun. Uh,
Mhm.
very kind of gross, bloody thriller.
Yeah, yeah. There will be blood.
Javier Bardem was very good, and then, but then, so someone like Chloe Zhao then confounds me, and of course I want her to win because women directors have it so hard.
Yeah.
But it does seem Paul Thomas Anderson has that director's arc. Ryan Coogler, I would love for him to win, but I'd be surprised.
Yeah. Didn't he direct Black Panther too? I think the difference between Ryan Coogler and Chloe Zhao to me is that there's a point of view with Ryan
Oh,
Coogler.
all the time.
And I
Creed,
disagree with his point of view in Black Panther, but it's there.
Fruitwell Station, Creed, all the creeds, I guess. Wakanda, Black
Yeah.
Panther and Wakanda,
Mhm.
and so on. Yeah, I mean, the clarity is there, the
There.
deep desire to represent blackness in all its glory and power. A very kind of mixed sort of politics for our mixed times. It's okay. So it's
Right?
good. The only, I mean, I will end on, we can stop, but I think the new thing from the last year to this year, last year and this year, that's been happening is that I find myself um, blinded, in terms of, not super blinded. I can still watch a film for what it is, but if there is an actor or director who's very progressive and has signed letters against genocide and things like that, I feel very staunch and supportive of
Same.
them. you know
Same.
so in that sense, that's why the Paul Thomas Anderson and all that stuff like really still reeks. Happy for the Bugonia director. He went and he signed the thing. Of course, not Wagner Moura, Kleber Philo,
Yeah,
who did Secret Agent. He's very political as well.
for sure.
And of course, at the end of the day, it's hard to understand what this politics is about because it's not like the films are necessarily delivering on the exact kind of progressive politics that we want. Like Brad Pitt supported Voice of Hind Rajab, but then he also made F1, which by the way is at the Oscars, and what a
Yeah.
shame. Like a film about Formula One, and they throw in the black guy, and it's about like aerodynamics and fast cars, and it's like,
Well, it's the mainstream these days. We've entered the mainstream. Aerodynamics.
yeah,
Fast
it's
aerodynamics.
who knows what it is. Yeah, so they're also these things are Avatar, which is,
Oh my god, I forgot about all these films. Thank God you didn't make me
they're
watch
in the Oscars. They're in the Oscars.
them.
Yeah. So they're celebrating the same weird, like 3 hour long
Yeah,
violence, video gamey,
yeah,
fest of that.
sure.
But
Yeah,
yeah, it is a very politically earned film, in my conclusion. And let's hope for the best, and we'll settle for whatever we get. Happy
yeah,
with some of the nominations,
yeah.
and lots of things change, and yet everything remains the same sometimes. but they have 24 hours to change that.
Well, for us, I will end on this note and say for us on the progressive side, it's just one battle after another.
Good one. Thank you, Madhuri. Thanks to everyone who joined, and we will put this video up very soon.
All
Thanks,
right.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.